Welcome back, everybody, to Kio World, your soul podcast for inner peace. I am very grateful to have today back in the episode and in the podcast show Jeanne Comeau, and we will talk today with you about the year of the fire horse. So it will get very exciting. And yes, welcome, Jeanne.
Well, thank you, Christina. I'm delighted to be here with you today and your audience listening. And we're going to talk about all the fire that we're feeling these days that came in on February 17th, but it was approaching before that. It's exciting times, very, very action-driven times, as we can see out in the world. But we're going to talk about some about what's going out in the world, out in the world. But really, we want to focus on how does it influence us as individual people, and what's the best way to use this energy internally in our own field of consciousness. And then when we're applying that in its proper fashion, we get to benefit the higher consciousness, the collective, all of us together. And that's really the mission of my work. I'm a metaphysician, everything is energy, and evolutionary astrologer, where it's all about the soul's purpose for this lifetime. And I'm always looking to speak with people about how to apply energy, the energy of the time, and everything is vibration. So energy moves us. It's what shakes us and moves us, for sure, Christina.
Yes, exactly. And I think last year in 2025, when we have been in the year of the snake, I think so many people felt it. So could you please, as the expert in astrology, explain to the audience, like, what is the difference? What also maybe people last year struggled, and what is the difference if entering now the year of the fire horse?
Well, with last year being the year of the wood snake, in Chinese astrology, just a bit about that, and then I'm going to come back to the wood snake. For those that may not be totally aware of Chinese astrology, the way it works is it uses 12 animals. So there are 12 animals. Such as, for those that know of astrology, and we know about the zodiac signs, Leo and Virgo, there are 12 zodiac signs. Well, in Chinese astrology, there are 12 animals, and there are, across the board, 4 elements, fire, wood, water, and air. And so Chinese astrology every year in February, this year it happened to be February 17th, and it does change every year, but it will be in February, generally, I believe. Every year, a new animal and a new element. And so then, therefore, every 60 years, the element and animal that you're entering into returns. So it's a 60-year cycle. The last time we were in the year of the fire horse was in the 1960s, 1966. We'll be talking a little bit about the history of that time. And what we do see on the collective, and certainly then, therefore, on a personal level, a person level, these energies impact the morphic field that we all live in. You see, it's all vibrational. And so they impact our consciousness. That's how they impact our life, and that's how they impact the world that we're looking out at. So it's a 60-year cycle. And with the year, yes.
That means, Jeanne, that like we are 16 years, for example, for now, then also in the fire horse, or like how long have we been in the wood snake, or how long will we
1
be
year.
now?
1 year.
So it's always 1 year.
Always 1 year, Christina. Thank you for the question.
But like it's always 1 year, and we have 12 different animals, and then they repeat, or how does it come then to the 16-year cycle?
It comes to the 60-year cycle when you multiply 12 times 4, because you have 4 elements.
All right.
Okay.
So we also go through the elements after that.
Yes, Christina. So this is the year of the fire horse, but in the 60-year span, there will be a wood horse, there will be a water horse, and an air horse. So every element, every animal in the 60-year cycle moves through the different elements. There's a rhyme and a reason to that. So we left the wood snake. We're now in the fire horse, and we will be going into the fire goat, which we'll be talking about, right? The fire
I
goat.
got it. So that means there is also a water horse and a
Yes,
air
yes, there is.
horse.
Yes, there is.
And with 60, you mean 60. So
Yes,
we are going through every animal with every element. I think this will be new
yes,
for the
Christina.
audience because it's so new for me as well.
Oh, interesting. And we
Yes.
we we confirmed what I think you had mentioned your grandmother might have had indicated. You were born in the year of the water monkey,
Yeah, water
right? The water
monkey.
monkey.
Yeah. I'm feeling like a water monkey. Yes.
So we can look at this way. Water is the element that is equated to emotion and the empathic intuition abilities, the psychic abilities. These are all water element. So these you naturally have. You're empathic, you are highly intuitive, and you feel people's emotional energy. You're water. Now, then we overlay that with you, with the monkey, the animal, the monkey. Now, the monkey reminds me of the sign Gemini, which, as I recall, is very prominent in your chart as well. And so, in your Western astrology, and so the monkey is quick-witted. Think about the monkey jumping from tree to tree to tree. You know, lots of thoughts, lots of ideas, communicating all the time. And so we have a water monkey in Christina. I was born in the year of the fire rooster. Okay, so it's all about fire. People can probably hear it in my voice. And the
Wow.
rooster, the rooster leads the farm. So that is definitely me. So it's
Wow.
kind of fun how we can see these energies in our birth animal and element for sure. Another fun thing about Chinese astrology is we all like to, well, a lot of us, depending on where we are in relationship mode, well, we always like to know how we're getting along with our current partner. Is we can look at the year that our partner was born in, animal and element, compared to the year that we were born in, animal and element. And I remember I had this way back in my teens, right? This book that would show me which one I would get along with and which one I wouldn't. But it was, I never really asked the guy if he was the this or that, and I probably should have.
Oh
Uh,
my
so,
gosh. This is what my
so
grandmother did for me. Like she always checked the year and everything. And when I had a new partner, she was like, give me a second. I will tell you if it works out or not. And actually, like very often it's very true. So that's kind of funny.
yes, that
Could
is
you
so cool.
could you
I was just
please?
one last
Yes,
note on
yes,
that
yes,
for our
please.
audience is when you meet someone new, all you need to know is their year and month of birth, unless they're born around the change, which is February, right? So you don't need to know the time like you do in Western astrology. And you can hone in on a lot about their characteristics and their character and your energy resonance with that partner by understanding their Chinese animal and element.
Yeah, so I think that's great. Maybe you can touch base a little bit on, and also maybe meantime the audience. I mean, today we have the blessing, right, also of ChatGPT, that someone who wants to know their like Chinese astrology, they can maybe research it now to know their
Absolutely.
element. And maybe could you explain, like you were explaining now, the water, for example. Water means being more emotional. So what would be the other elements? Like we cannot go now through all the different
Sure. Sure.
not all the different animals, but what would be
Animals.
the animals, but what would be the elements? Yeah, my cat is just like crying and talking so loud in the moment.
I can't hear him, but that would be fun.
Yes, yes.
The cat wants to know.
Yes, he wants to
Um,
know.
fire. And so fire is initiatory action, fires up. Think of somebody just fires you up. They're an energy that is take charge energy. They're leadership energy. They'll walk into a room and organize the whole room. I mean, fire is it lights things up.
Hmm.
Wood is a beautiful. I was reading a lot about wood and looking at the wood snake. Wood is the builder. We think about the carpenter. So we think of wood as the builder, and it's the tree. It's solid. It's equated to earth, so it's the blooming of the tree is wood, very solid foundational element. And then we have air. Air is communication. Air is an energy that needs to be with people, around people, communicating with people is air. Yeah. Thank you for that
Okay.
question.
Yeah. Yeah. That answered that question. Wow.
But
Okay.
really, for our audience, you'll find a lot, of course, on ChatGPT, and you'll be able to understand a lot about your nature, which is very important.
So, okay, we are coming back to the year of the snake that we are entered now the fire horse. So I understand now also that we are now in the fire horse actually says a lot about the time we are in right now. So it's not
Yes.
only the horse, it's the fire horse.
Yes.
So, yeah, like, could you
Well, the
explain more
horse,
about that? Yeah, and about the
the
horse.
the horse is all about movement.
Uh-huh,
The
yes,
horse is
sure.
all about moving, running, galloping. It's very fast speed. This year, so much is going to happen this year, and it's going to go by so fast. So you've got this fast moving energy, and you've got ignition with fire. So you've got a lot of bold things happening in the world that we couldn't have expected. Where last year, well, to some of us, last year wasn't even slow. If we look out at the world, it wasn't slow. There was a lot going on. But a lot more will happen this year. And it will be far more impactful and far more igniting.
Yeah,
Now,
mhm.
yeah, I was just going to say, Christina, you and I were talking earlier about, the world, what's happening out there, and our individual selves. And so what I'd like to share with the audience is we can't control what's happening in the world by doing worldly things, such as being on social media and, just joining a protest, although protests have their places, we do need them. But so we have to watch our own inner field of consciousness and awareness, and focus on taking this fire horse expression to its fullest, powerful, yes, it will be a powerful year, expression of who we are through our field of consciousness. And so stepping away from the larger field of consciousness, going into that field when we're centered with our consciousness, and bringing into that field goodness and love and higher vibration. And in that higher vibration, we're better able to then positively influence what we're looking out at as the larger collective of the world through higher vibration. Yeah.
Yeah, because
So,
mhm, I think, yes, exactly what is especially going now on in the world. Like, I mean, what you said about social media, I think like there were already, some funny memes out there about, yes, everyone was hoping for the year of the fire horse, and then you just see, another war is kind of happening in the world.
right.
So, what would you say? Because I think actually, when people thought about the year of the fire horse, I think a lot of people expected just amazing things happening. But I think what is just right happening now around the world just shows us,
Mhm.
yeah, it actually means in both directions, right? This is polarity. And that I loved
Mhm.
what you said is that, like, at the end, it also, every situation shows us where can we individually grow and where are we putting our attention. And then I always
Yes.
say that we will have war as long as it will be outside in humanity if people are not doing the inner work and are not
Yes.
looking within. Because if you go on social media and you put your attention there, and by that you actually steal your own lifetime by doing that, then you really see how people are talking with each other, and that there's no compassion, that there's just like aggression and hate and
Mhm.
so many horrible emotions that like people don't have to wonder like that other people are making war outside if they are not
Mhm.
healing this inner war with them then themselves.
Mm. There's
So
so much
yeah.
there to unpack. There's so much there. So sadly, war has been around and been around and been around. And, I'd like to see it gone in my lifetime, but I don't know that I will. And so what brings out the war and the aggression? Well, there's so much there in that energy. Certainly people participating in tipping the balance of all of consciousness, where there's one big consciousness of which we are part. And when we all go to the negativity and we don't truly see that the individual we're looking at is us, right? So when we go to that negativity, we all go, it starts to tip the scale. And what you will have is more and more hatred and aggression. So we have to understand that that war and these wars are an outward expression of something that I'm sorry to say is needing to happen for humanity. We're in a period of time that is shifting human consciousness. This is a human consciousness revolution. AI coming along is part of the game. And I don't mean game in a bad way. It's going to serve its purpose, but we're in a revolution of human consciousness. There's an elevation that's being called for. The wars are a result of the old paradigm trying to hang on to the old paradigm, the old power trying to hang on to the old power. We are in the age where human individuality and our individual consciousness is seeking to be in charge, period. Seeking to be in charge. And it will eventually be in charge. But before it can be, all of the structures that kept humanity suppressed and mind controlled away from the higher consciousness needs to come down. And this is what we're seeing in the wars, and it doesn't make it any easier to see. So did we all expect to see great things in the year of the fire horse? Yes, because, as humans, we always look to see great things. We know there's going to be a change in energy, and we're hoping for the best, and we're only listening to where the best is going to come from. So, we're going to, I'm going to bring up a little bit. Let's look at a historical reference, okay, Christina?
Hmm.
The last time we were in the year of the fire horse was 1966.
Okay.
Now, some folks weren't alive in 1966, and I happen to be alive in 1966. I remember it, and I remember my mom going absolutely crazy, not understanding what was happening. What was happening? Civil rights movements. Okay,
Wow.
student protests, and yes, in America, and this was happening all around the world. It was a cultural revolution time. And so the world was leaving the post-World War II era, that era of time. And we entered into this cultural revolution. It was difficult. People died for, wars. The Vietnam War was fought. Things were happening. But yet, if we all look back at the 1960s and 1966 particularly, it had to happen. We had to have that cultural revolution. And so what's happening right now is it's a revolution of individual rights. You see, this is happening. And there's a lot of top-down structure that's looking still to contain it. Eventually, they'll be toppled, but there'll be a lot of difficulty along the way, I'm sorry to say. And the year of the fire horse, what's it doing? It's making it happen faster,
Hmm.
faster, faster, and with fire. Things will get better. but they'll be different. And so we just have to go year to year. And we have to look out at the whole world and understand that we're a mere speck in it all. And it's all energy and it's all consciousness. And there's a game being played that you cannot even understand.
Yes.
Not even understand. There are a few puppet holders up there. And so before we get all mangled emotionally and psychologically and what's being seen, I want us to all remember that that's part of the game that's being played on
And of the
us.
attention and everything. And just like to say something to that, what you said, that humans want to see good. I just
Yes.
also had a conversation with a friend of mine that actually some people, they are not aware. Also, when some people, as we spoke about, where you help people to find, for example, their soul mission, right? If some people
Mm-hmm.
don't have their soul mission, they feel sometimes very bored in life. And so what I
Yeah.
sadly observed was also that some people, they love bad news. I mean, see how fast bad news are spreading through the world, drama,
Mm-hmm.
bad news, etc. Just like,
Right.
stealing the attention. It's also in yoga, we, for example, say you shouldn't steal. And by that, you should also not steal the attention of people. And so many people are just
Right.
trying with all these hooks and all the drama to steal the attention of people because they want to fill a void, which is like
They want
deep,
to find meaning
yes,
in their
meaning.
life.
Yes.
They want to find meaning in their life. And as long as there's a looking outside, we don't have to look within. And so
Yes.
it's a lot easier to look outside. And when you're in the game, I'll call it the social media game, or just having a social event with a bunch of like-minded people that want to just talk about the news, right? When you're in that moment, and I kind of lost my thought, but when you're there, you're not having to look within yourself.
Hmm.
I have a
It's a
you know,
distraction.
it's, pardon me, it's an
It,
obstruction, right?
yes.
But yeah, right, Christina, we all will eventually, and we all must come to terms with our soul. It's there. It's
Yes.
there. It's calling out to you. It wants you to recognize it. It wants you to know it. It wants you to tap into who you really are and why you're really here. And if we're upset as to what's going on in the world out there, why don't we take a look at what's the role we were born to be in during this time? So we're all here for a reason in this historical moment of time now. And we're all to play a part. It's like, think of a stage. We all have a role to play. And we get to choose what that role is. You see, there's no prediction here. You get to choose which way you're going to go. It's all about the decision, moment by moment decisions. You get to make your life. You can choose to go negative or you can choose to go positive. And it's a difficult choice
Hmm.
because going negative is so much easier. It's so much easier. To
Yes.
go positive, we have to start to care about other people more than we care about ourselves. Isn't that interesting? More than we care about ourselves. And when we do that, we're playing to the positive of the larger consciousness field. We're all born with gifts and talents and soul purpose and karma to transcend in this lifetime. Now, Christina, I met you last year, and I'm so glad that I'm doing this work. I get to meet bright lights like you, and I've seen your business morph, and I'm seeing you live your soul's purpose. See, it's a choice. You could have easily gone the other way, and it's a difficult choice because you have challenges, right? Doing what you're doing, but you stay focused. So, to all of our audience, it's a question of understanding why you're here, what your role is. I'll also say this, if you don't know what your role is and you don't fill that role, it's not going to be filled by anybody.
Hmm.
And so the people that you were born to meet up with again, okay, because we travel with soul partners, meet up with again, and influence their life again positively with your gifts and talents, that person will not get that benefit. because you didn't embrace why you were here. You didn't get to know who you really, really were. And that, Christina, is how we navigate the year of the fire horse. That's how we navigate every day and every year. We have to live in our own field first and foremost, understand our own field of consciousness, and then we fit properly into the larger positive field of consciousness. I'll call it positive, but it's higher vibration, because everything is energy and everything is vibration.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm.
So, how would you say can people then, like in the year of the fire horse, and also we wanted to speak about like new beginnings, right? Because we're having
Yes.
also now the spring equinox ahead of us. And you and I also spoke already about like when we saw us last time that every day is actually also a new beginning. So,
Mhm.
what would you recommend to the audience? Like, how can they use for themselves on an individual and personal level, like this energy of the year of the fire horse, and how can someone, especially with everything that is going on in the world right now, say like, hey, I want to choose a new beginning for myself?
Mm. Well, in this year of the fire horse, we've talked a lot about the collectivity, the collective world where it's going to, we're going to see a lot of innovation. There's going to be a rapid, rapid, rapid change. Just think of the fire horse galloping, and there'll be new visions for the future, new visions for the future on the collective.
Mm,
Personally, we're feeling an inner push. Everybody's feeling it, because I know how
yes.
vibration works. So we're all feeling it. The people that are listening today, it's because they're feeling this inner push. So it's an inner push to take initiative and pursue something meaningful. What I was just saying, what is the something meaningful that you are to pursue in your lifetime? So how do we navigate the year of the fire horse? Start to understand who you truly are. This is a cycle. It's like every year is a cycle. It's a transition. Last year, I want to talk about, to understand the year of the fire horse, we've got to understand where we've been. There's always the where we've been. But we were in the year of the wood snake. And that carried an energy of, if you just think back last year, I know I certainly can, reflection. The reflection is hard because we all want to be doing, 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 but certainly we were reflecting, we were thinking, we were quietly preparing. Insight was coming, wisdom, and we were journaling. We were writing down things we wanted to be, do, and have, right? We were writing, but we didn't feel the push to make it happen yet. That's what the year of the fire horse brings. So to be ready for this year, it's just March 11th now. We're not even a full month into it. The suggestion for the audience is close up the year of the wood snake. Close it off. End it. Whatever you dreamt about,
Mhm.
whatever insights, whatever thinking you had as to what you wanted to be, do, and have, ensure they're written down and finalize it. Sign it. And so it is. Sign it. And so it is. Because all of that planning is done. All that strategic thinking is done. Preparation over. So really finalize your preparation and get into action. You see, that's what the fire horse is all about. The fire horse is now giving you that inner push to take everything that you thought about last year and wrote about, to bring it now forward out into reality. And I'll go ahead. We're in the year just nearly still 11 months to go in the year of the fire horse. But what will come after that is the fire goat.
Mm,
So again, we have goat action. Again, we have fire
fire.
action.
Mm.
Fire, making it happen, leading, charging the way, right? Leading the way. And the goat, so we take a look at the animal, the goat. The goat, first of all, equates to Capricorn, which is very familiar to you, being a Capricorn, Christina, which is the builder. It's the builder. So this year is all about taking action to bring those inner plans out into doing it, making it happen. And next year, when we come into the year of the fire goat, it's going to be all about solidifying and integrating into your life everything that you create this year. and that's the path there. Um, you know, if we think back to 1966, which I spoke about, right, the fire horse, and for any, you know, speak with your parents about those years, 1966, 67, 68. These were phenomenal times. I mean, I can speak about it from the United States perspective. You know, we were going through a great cultural revolution and the hippies, and there was a lot of drugs on the scene. There was crazy things happening, but it created a whole new world order. And that theme is now repeating, Christina. 2026 fire horse, 2027, 2028. So don't get so caught up, excuse me, on what's happening today. Plan. Plan for what's coming. That's always the thing. Don't stay in the past of the anger and aggression of it all. Think bigger, think broader, think larger is what I would recommend to our audience. Chinese astrology suggests that while history doesn't exactly repeat itself, there are similar energetic themes, and they do return. They do. So the wood snake was all about preparing the ground. It brought insight and the plan.
Mm-hmm.
Sign it, be done with that insight and plan. And so it is with your name. The horse moves us forward, and the goat helps us to integrate into our lives what we've begun. Think about it from the world, the whole world. It's going to be a rough year, the year of the fire horse. Next year, with the goat coming, there'll be more stability. But the change that takes place in this life, in this year, will be start to be integrated into a new reality that we're living in. Yeah. And so, you know, life moves in cycles. It's not random, and it certainly is not chaotic, although it seems chaotic. It moves in rhythms and cycles, much like the seasons. And so we come to the spring equinox. It's March 20th. It is actually also, from a Western astrology perspective, it is the astrological new year, because that starts on the first day of Aries, which also comes in with the spring equinox. And so it's one of nature's most powerful symbols of renewal. Spring, things are starting to bloom again. I live in New England. We had a beautiful near summer day yesterday, but it marks the moment when day and night are in equal balance. And from that point, the light begins to increase. You know, the winter is all about us going within. Now we're coming out. And so for centuries around the world, the equinox was recognized as a turning point in the yearly cycle. And it reminds us that everything is rhythm. Everything
Mm-hmm.
is rhythm. And at this time of year with the spring equinox, you know, the 20th, it's a powerful energy day. And maybe that's the right, you know, a great day to close off the year of the wood snake,
Mm-hmm.
because it is a real true element beginning. There's a feeling of new beginning in the year, in the ear, and in the consciousness. So that would be a great time to sign off on last year's planning. And so it is.
Yeah,
You know,
maybe also if people, for example, haven't, I think most of the people know about the Year of the Fire Horse, but maybe if someone didn't know about it, or also now from everything you shared, felt like, okay, I really want to get like, sign some things off, then maybe this could be like a good, anchor for doing this list and
yes,
for having this new start, right?
yes, 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 exactly. And that got me to think about something else, which is, yes, use chat and GPT or whatever thing you do use. Understand what your birth, animal, and element are.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll be able to ask questions about what is the energy of the year of the fire horse in relation to my birth year, animal, and element. And you'll get a sense of what energies are supporting what you were thinking about doing and you're now finalizing as a plan and writing action. You'll get a sense of how supported you are. So if you're born in the year of a fire, which I was, I just got more fire. I'm like on fire, right? So you want to understand because it's going to be different for somebody who was born in a water year. It's going to play out differently. And when this is why I do evolutionary astrology as well. When you know better, you do better. And that's a famous quote from Maya Angelou. But when you know better, you do better. So when you know what energies you were born
Mhm.
with, let's just take it larger, be it Chinese astrology or Western astrology. When you know what energies you were born with, there's a calmness that can come with that, and you become empowered. This can be part of the journey of understanding your true inner consciousness. You become empowered to understand your role in it all because you know yourself more. It's interesting. We know a lot about ourselves, but we have a hard time putting language to it. So language doesn't get put to it, and so that creates confusion. And then we fall victim. We fall victim to everybody and everything outside of us telling us who we are. And that's where a lot of the emotional pain in lifetime comes from. That's its source. Don't let anybody tell you who you are or any event tell you who you are. Work on learning who you are. And so let's talk about the spring equinox and let's talk about the seeds that are
Ye-
beginning to stir, the
Yeah.
seeds that you planted.
So do
Yeah.
you also believe that like we sometimes need this, like because I think sometimes people can have also like big expectations if they wait for the year of the fire horse or for the spring equinox. So do you also from a, perspective of an astrologer believe that these days are quite strong, powerful
Yes.
portals, or do you
Yes.
believe that every day is like in our universe like such a powerful portal?
Well, that's such a great question. Every day is magic. I just have to say that. Every day is magic. Um, wake up in the morning and say, every day is magic. Just start saying that every day. You'll get it in you. Every day is magic. That'll pump up your vibration. And then on top of it, because everything is energy, right? There are days that have higher vibrational energy. And the equinox certainly does have higher vibrational energy, just like in June. So there are 4 days in the year that trigger the different seasons. So when we think of the seasons, it's almost like thinking about the elements, right? Because summer season is fire. So these all equate. But we have spring comes in March. We have summertime comes in June. That gives a different energy. The
Yes.
longest day of the year by sunlight. Now, this is all reversed on the southern hemisphere, just so you know, but nonetheless, the energy is still there. When it's our first day of summer, it's their first day of winter. So fall comes in September in the northern hemisphere, and that brings a different energy because we're now starting the inward journey, you see? And then winter comes, only to return back to spring. So the seeds that were planted when we were all going through the winter season, and certainly in the year of the wood snake, sign them off because it's time for them to start to to sprout, you see, to bloom. So yes, very definitely, Christina, there are higher vibrational days, and one's birthday is a very high vibrational day. The sun, the sun that you were born, when you were born, the energy of the sky was imprinted in your soul and your psyche. You are that energy field, period, the end. And so when you come back to your birthday, the sun returns to its very position that it was at when you were born.
So would you
All of
say
the
it's
other,
important to celebrate the birthday?
it absolutely is important to celebrate the birthday. And it's a very much an inner journey celebration. It's a powerful celebration of self. And so be careful who you give it away to, I say, because it really is a celebration of you. And remember how I said, you define you. is my advice. You always define you. And so with
True.
the invitation of the equinox is a simple question. And so on March 20th, the question is, what is my life ready to grow? What is my life ready to grow? And so it's a meditative day. It's the way to look at these powerful days and don't let them just go by. So that is March 20th. And yeah,
Would you
thank you for
have
that.
like any specific ritual what someone could do on that day? Like how will you maybe personally like just spend the day like getting up in the
Mm.
morning and of course saying this day is magical and
This day is magic.
this day is magic. Yeah.
I like to spend it by myself, but that's me. And I like to spend it with my journals, my plans, my thinking. I want to do a long meditation that day.
How do you
I want,
meditate? Do you meditate then in silence or do you
mm,
do guided meditations? How do you
yeah,
meditate?
you know, when I first started meditating, it was so difficult, so difficult. And then I went through the guided meditations through the founder of my metaphysical university, and those were very, very good. And I was able to actually get to the point where I was tapped. In meditation, we always want to look with our eyes closed at the inner viewing screen. He taught us, the inner
Yes.
viewing screen. It's the stage. It's the stage there. And if you get to the right quiet moment, and there can be a 2 second, although it'll seem much longer 3 second, 4 second flash. It's a flash. And so through his meditations, I was able to start to experience that. Now I've gotten to
Wow.
the point where, yeah, amazing stuff. And now I've gotten to the point, when you have that flash, and for the audience, it is attainable. If I could get there, you can get there. One of my favorite ones, I've just got to share, one of my favorite ones is, and it seemed to last forever, Christina, but it was a download. It was just flying by my mind's eye and it was all ancient hieroglyph. It wasn't even hieroglyphics, but it was all just like ancient numerology writing. And to me, it felt like the universal consciousness was giving me this whole download, and I was taking it in. I can still see it. My soul took it in, and so it's in my field now. You see, it was always in my field, but I got to recognize it as being in my
Wow.
field. So that is attainable by everybody if I could get there. So how do I meditate now? I like to go very low on the tone, and it's tuning bowls at the different frequencies. 963, so the different megahertz frequencies. So I'm working with the vibrational frequencies of our consciousness, and I'm picking a different one for different days, but it's very low to the point where I then am able to forget it's there, but it helps me stay away from the thoughts and by the way, for our audience, the thoughts do come. They still come for me. But I remember reading one time where this particular person said, just let them drift by like clouds. Just let them go. So don't hang on to it. Don't make it a story. Just let it go. Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
so thanks for asking
Wow.
that.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. So, would you also say then, like
Oh,
when
oh,
we are,
oh, I'm
yeah,
sorry to interrupt. I have to share this. I have to
yes,
share this
please.
again for the audience. Meditation is where you plug in to the higher consciousness, the
Yes.
universal consciousness, and it's a field of energy. And so this is a holographic universe. And so this is where it's like plugging in your electric vehicle. You plug it in to charge it, you're plugging into the field. And we must recharge our battery. We must recharge our consciousness on a daily basis. 5, 10, 15, 20, go up to an hour. I do really well with 30 minutes a day. Okay, so we have to charge. I'm so sorry to interrupt.
No, that is perfect. I'm also always saying I do believe we need to have a however it looks like, but a daily spiritual practice, no matter how short it
Yeah.
is. And
Yes.
yes, what I was just about saying that at first, thank you for sharing what you will do on the spring equinox. And just like with when we're having new beginnings, I think you also wanted to share that it doesn't mean like if we're having a new beginning every day that we are starting over, because I think
No,
that can make a lot of pressure to some people. So, how would you
that's right.
explain how we can see like the new beginnings also from that perspective, right? Because sometimes I think some people are
Mhm.
maybe a bit hesitant and think like, yeah, but I actually also enjoy my life, right? What do I need to start? What should be even a new beginning, right? So,
Right.
yeah.
Well, it's interesting. New beginnings are always calling you. And they're always calling you because we're evolving. We never stay the same person. You are not the same person you were an hour ago. And so, at a deeper metaphysical sense, a true beginning usually happens when life itself shifts the conditions around us and the old pattern no longer fits. But actually, what's been happening is the energies in the field have been setting things up. And they've been setting things up based on our energy. This is very important. So the new beginnings are always coming. They're always being set up. They become better when we stay tuned, when we stay charged into the field. That's when we're calling in the higher vibrations and the higher good. So most of us feel the shift before we understand it. We sense something is coming, and it's life unfolds through cycles. It's a constant emergence, growth, completion,
And can you
renewal.
feel when a cycle is closing? Like, do you think we can
Yes,
sense that?
yes, it there's an itchiness about us. What once satisfied us doesn't anymore.
Mm.
We don't like to do that thing so much anymore. And that's just not working for us anymore. Maybe it's friends, maybe it's partner, maybe it's living conditions, it's potentially job.
Mm.
It's the hair color, it's the clothes that we wear. But something is shifting, and there's an itchiness about us. That's the clue that a new beginning is coming.
And also, Jeannie, like, because I know from some people that they really in the last years or like since 2021 and COVID and everything, that some people really feel they go through one life, let's say, crisis after the other, right? They are challenged
Mm,
emotionally, then by the health, then they go through an extreme financial crisis. And like some people like really go through some cycles, I know from some people they went through a period like or like a financial struggle for 1 year and the second year. Then some people, are hoping now, oh, with the year of the fire horse, things are changing. But, with
mm,
some people, things don't start like or are not looking like that they are changing. So from an astrologer perspective, like what is your what are your thoughts on, and also like globally speaking now, do you think that or what do you believe is the reason that we sometimes go through something? Do you believe that there is also sometimes a timeline written that, like, no matter what we do, like, things will go through a certain time of period? I mean, when we had also our reading, right, and you gave me all this amazing insights, there were also sometimes like you really could see, oh, this will be
mhm,
this chapter and this chapter. So
mhm,
what
mhm,
would you recommend to those people? Can we
mm,
just surrender? Or like, because sometimes I think people think, oh, do I need to do more inner work? Do I have to meditate more? Do I have to change my job? Or like, do I need to
mm,
do whatever, another family constellation, whatever it is, right? If the
mhm,
outer world is not changing, even if many people are doing so much on the inner world. So
mm. Well,
what
there's a lot there. In terms of the difficulties that come into the life over and over again, uh, they come for reasons.
mm,
Part of the reason, well, I'm going to answer the astrology in the second part of this. And the first part of this is energy. So the metaphysics of your energy field calls in conditions of life. It just does. So if we're operating in a space where we think negatively, negative thoughts, dark thoughts all the time. Why me? Woe me, this happening again. Look. And then when we think negative thoughts, we project it out to other people. Oh, look at that person. And we're spewing hate. People spew
Yes.
hate, I'm sorry to say,
They
right?
judge everything
They
then.
judge everything. And if you're in that space of energy, bad things will come because what we put out returns. It's like a boomerang. What you put out, what you believe, what you think, all returns. It's the law. It's the law of energy. It's the law of the universe. It's going to come back. Your thoughts create your reality. Great phrase, simple phrase. I want you to think about it. Wake up every day and say, this really is magic. And your thoughts will start to change. Conditions of your life will become brighter. They start becoming brighter because you first start looking at them through brighter eyes. And when you're looking at them through brighter eyes, they get lighter. And so the darkness starts to fall away. That is the metaphysics of it, and it's absolutely true. Now we take a look at the astrology of it. Everything is energy. And so when I take a look at somebody's birth chart, I can see in there the soul's karma. I can see it in terms of the number of, not number of, let's just call it the individual's geometry, their sacred geometry, the configurations of the planets against each other or with each other. Are they causing friction or are they causing harmony? An individual that has a lot of frictional energy has got a lot of stuff to work through in this lifetime.
Mm.
That makes staying in that positive state more difficult. No buts about it. It does make it more challenging and more difficult. But that individual chose that energy. In other words, we choose our time of birth. All right. So we choose what we're going to work through for our soul's evolution in this particular lifetime. Another reason why everyone should know their stars. And so life comes to us. Again, we can't predict what's going to happen. I can't predict that there'll be a bad thing that will happen, but I can show that in this area of life, you are challenged insofar as there are difficulties that your soul is looking to work through to evolve some past life karma. And I talk with the client about this is where your psyche goes to when that energy wins. When that negative energy wins, this is where your psyche goes to, and then your thoughts go there, and all the things happen in the outer world. But when you understand that that's the karma you're working with, and this is the higher road of it, this is what you want to be doing with that to transcend it, you get to leave behind the negative energy that's
Mm.
creating these outer experiences. So the birth chart is one part. We come in with a footprint. And then, as you know, Christina, the sky is always changing. And that's creating more geometry against our birth chart. And it's bringing us either additional friction or harmony. But I look at the friction not as a negative at all, at all, at all. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to finally understand and work with this energy that you came in with so that your outer experience can become better, can become better. So I hope I answered the question. That was a great question.
Yes, yes, you did. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
So, yes, no, I think it's just about like that, yeah, do you believe that you also do believe that sometimes there are like deeper reasons or like bigger reasons for us, like as you said, like hanging on in a cycle. And sometimes I think we
Yes,
feel we're entering a cycle, and then
yes,
when we're in the middle of it, and then also before we are moving out of it, right?
yes, yes. I was able to show you the chapters of life, and there are chapters of life. As Christina and I were saying, life moves in cycles. You can look back at your life and see it moving in cycle. In astrology, every 12 years, Jupiter comes around to its birthplace. It's a new cycle of opportunity. That's something you certainly want to know about on a positive note. That's a good thing to know. But life is not random. It's not chaotic. It is timed in terms of its energy. It moves in rhythms, it moves in cycles. The earth is very much a living thing. And, the seasons, they grow. The seasons of quiet, such as the winter time, we start to enter it in the fall. And then there's new seasons, such as spring. And that's where we are right now. And something begins to emerge. This is where we find everybody today on March 11th, 2026. So we want to understand the season of life you're in. And in order to understand the season of life that you're in, you need to understand your inner consciousness. You need to understand yourself. You need to go within. There are tools to help you do that. Easiest tool right now, look at your Chinese astrology, animal and element. Take a look at that. Um, Western astrology, which is the larger picture, evolutionary astrology, unless you want to become an astrologer, that's very challenging to understand, but certainly work with a qualified evolutionary astrologer that can show you the cycle of life that you're in right now, what energy you came into this lifetime with, and how that's playing with this cycle of life. For example, you're in your 20s, you're in your 30s, you're in your 60s, you're in your 70s. I have a client this afternoon who's 82 years old. I'm super excited, because he's in a cycle of life. And so it is like that. And we want to understand the season that we're in. When we recognize the cycles, we stop forcing life. You
Yes.
see? So I take a breath, because forcing life doesn't make it happen the way we want it to happen. We talk about manifesting, and all these teachings out there about manifesting. Manifesting
I
can't
think
be
you
forced.
you would you I'm sure you see that through my chart, or like me being a Capricorn, that I love to force things.
Yes, we talked about that. And I think there was somewhere I said, well, this is a thing you can't force,
Yeah.
You can't. And so when we know who we are, we do better. We understand the chapter of life we're in, the energies that are existent in our birth chart, and what's happening in the sky today, influencing that. Work with that energy. I'll be working on publishing my book this year. I knew this was the right year for that, and it's going to happen. I tried before.
Amazing.
Yes, I tried before, but it wasn't the right year. But I didn't know that
Mhm.
at the time. Tried it
Mhm.
many, 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 many times before. However, um, from the place of understanding the season you're in and knowing who yourself, your life decisions become clearer and life becomes less frightening. And I would say, I must add to that, when life becomes less frightening, you stop the fight. You stop the fight. So why do we glom on to what's happening out there? Is because we're fighting for survival of ourself. It's fighting for survival. We can't control what's going on out there. All we can do is control what's going on within. And in so controlling what's going on within, we can control what's going on out there. And sending out the higher vibration. And so the real invitation, with the new year, the fire horse and the equinox and every new beginning, yes, a birthday, your solar return. Pause. Again, pause and notice what cycle you're in and understand what the season is asking for and work towards that season. Work towards what that season is asking you for, and you'll find contentment. You'll find contentment. The inner fight will really stop. Those bad things that are happening out there, they're just a product of fear, which triggers negativity. because we don't know who we really are.
Yes.
Cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I'd like to share with our audience, and you, Christina, a metaphysical prayer for new beginnings.
Oh, beautiful.
So just take a breath and still our minds. And if you're driving, pay attention to where you're going.
Then don't close your eyes.
Don't close your eyes. Infinite presence within me. I welcome the new beginning now unfolding in my life. I release the past with gratitude and open my mind to fresh possibilities. May divine wisdom guide my thoughts, and peace guide my heart, and right action guide my steps. I trust that life is leading me forward with purpose and perfect timing. It is with faith and gratitude that I now embrace this new chapter. And so it is.
And so it is. And so it is. And so it is. That was beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jeanne, for all the wisdom that you shared today with me and with the audience. And yes, I can't wait to have you back at another time in the podcast show. It's always such a pleasure, and you're just like, such a light. And thank you for your time, and thank you for being here.
You're most welcome, Christina. Blessings to you and everyone.
Thank you.